Squirrel Rosenberg Radio coming to you live and direct from the lab. I'm so honored to have women around me right now. I'm just going to start describing or give you a brief description of, or let me rephrase that, an introduction starting from my left. So as I introduce you, I'm going to give a little precursor to who you are, and then you just say who you are. So to the left, on my first left, I want to let you know that this lady has been a significant influence to the Squirrel Rosenberg movement. As a matter of fact, in the streets, they call her Mrs. Squirrel Rosenberg. I'm not going to tell you what I call her in the sheets, but she is really, a classic lady. To my left, who do I have in the house tonight?
Big L.
Nice. Beautiful. Passing Big L, I got to let you know this other young lady has been instrumental in keeping your boy organized and getting things done in the office.
Big in personality, not...
Big in person. Yeah, you're always... Definitely get on the mic when you want to say that. But I want to give a big shout out to my other guest who's right next to my wife. Her name is?
Latina
Liz.
Latina Liz in the house.
Yes, I'm telling you. That's Swahili for muy caliente. So thank you so much for stopping by. Next to Liz, I have her daughter that's in the house, which is a blessing. And what's your name?
Big T.
Big T. Big T. What does the T stand for? Talia. Oh, that's a huge name. Talia.
Thalia. T-H. Thalia.
Thalia.
Wow. You're saying D, Thalia.
Thalia. Yeah, Thalia. No, I'm sorry. It's a British pronunciation versus the Spanish pronunciation. But that name, you sound like you need to be the president of a small country. That's really official, actually. What's the meaning of that name? Did you know? Or Liz, what's the meaning behind that name?
Bundle of joy.
That's what it means? Oh, that's very nice, no? Was she a bundle of joy coming out?
Everything.
Wow.
The moment I found out I was pregnant with her, she was a bundle of joy.
Wow, that's big. That's big. Wow. And next to the bundle of joy, a.k.a. Thalia, is my very good friend, my best friend's wife, actually. Her name is Jennifer Rodriguez, a.k.a. Dr. Jennifer Rodriguez.
We'll take Coach Rodriguez for right now.
No, actually, you know what? I'm very aware of the power of words, so I always talk it big and talk it into the universe. And you're going to be Dr. Rodriguez, especially when it comes to the Squirrel Rosenberg angle, because we can talk about a myriad of things here, covering from finance to politics to religion to sex, knowing that everything is going to be done in a very healthy manner. So in the meantime, in between time, as we get ready to move on into some really interesting conversations, I just want to remind people that everything you're hearing in the background is available on the Squirrel Rosenberg Radio SoundCloud. I want to give a big shout out to Belice in the back with the camera, Manny, of course, my man Fat Joe just walked in, E-Dub is in the place handling the audio. So we're getting ready to set this thing off right. And before I jump into anything, ladies, I want to touch on the politics side of things tonight. Now, we're going to keep it tight. We're going to keep it sweet. 2 minutes to share your opinion or less on what do you think about the political climate. And I'm going to go random, So I'm going to go to Dr. Rodriguez over here. How do you feel? What's your opinion on the way things are moving right now?
Turbulent times for sure. I think right now we're experiencing a lot of what we've tried to avoid probably within the last 50 years. A lot of things we probably haven't experienced due to our age, but it has surfaced. And I think together we need to create a union to figure out what are strategic moves on what we need to do to kind of, overcome whatever impact's going to come our way. Because it's going to affect all of us. It will not affect the 1 to 2% on top, but it will affect all of us.
So you're really, based on, I can just tell by your synopsis, you don't think my boy Trump is going to be doing a good job at all?
No.
And I use my boy Trump, that description, very loosely, people, on Squirrel Rosenberg Radio. Just want to make sure the view. I just got 2 shots bust at me from, Latina Liz over there. Liz, what's your feeling on the Trump thing? Go ahead.
I'm with the doctor here. I agree with a lot of things she said. But you know what? Change might be good. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure what's going on. I'm just bracing myself.
So you say that as if it's going to be disastrous.
It's looking disastrous. But maybe things will smooth out,
Ellie, what do you feel on that?
So
a lot of times when we bury things, it's unhealthy, right? So you bury it and you keep it deep, and you don't, expose it. And when you don't expose it, you don't have time to heal it. You don't have time to grow. So I think what happened in the past 20 years probably is everything was buried. No one wanted to talk about it. Racism didn't exist. And I think that it's come to the surface, and I think it's healthy. I think people are now talking about it. People are realizing that, it wasn't an issue in the 60s. It's very, very prominent and prevalent today, and I think people are now talking about it, and I think it's healthy. I think if it wasn't for Trump and if it wasn't for this election, I don't think we would have the passion that people have right now.
Very good point.
Women's rights,
That's a very good point.
equal. Yeah. So I, as much as we dislike Trump, as much of a idiot he is, I think it's healthy. Right?
Yeah,
people are now.
It's showing more togetherness. People are uniting a little bit more.
whether you're uniting for Trump or
Yeah.
uniting for the opposition, there's a uniting
There's
that's
a
happening.
unity that's going on.
What's so funny? You should bring that up because I remembered, and let me bring you guys back to a moment. Do you remember prior to 9/11, the energy in New York was really tense. The stop and frisk thing was moving. It was like it was. "Argh!"
Right.
And once 9/11 happened, there was a bonding. There was a coming together that was just so profound across the country.
Yes.
So I got to compliment you for bringing that up, because at the same time, my personal views are as follows. One is, a person like Trump was needed to shake the bottle, to let people know that we need to get our shit together, not so we don't allow another rogue individual like this to walk into this environment. Because this guy is not a politician. He's just him. And because of his movement.
I was gonna say that's why he got elected, right? People were so sick of politicians.
True. But however,
Yeah,
if
they're
politicians
sick of-
were doing their job, nobody like this would be able to step up in the game unqualified, unexperienced, and win the presidency. You follow? So what we now have to do that he's in, and this is my opinion, and I love to share. And please, as we're speaking, 2 things I want to remind my guests to do. Number 1, get close to the mic. 2 is
The mic is your friend.
Yeah, the mic is your friend. And 2 is interrupt if you feel like you need to interrupt. But however, my point is this: now that he's the president, let's allow him to set up and do what he's supposed to do, and then we can say, hey, listen, he was an a-hole going in.
Isn't that part of the issue, right? So all the changes he's making now is going to affect us for years to come, even
True.
when he's not president, right? So Supreme Court appointments. So I think that's really what the uproar is about. It's not necessarily his choices today. I think it's his choices and how they're going to affect us well after his presidency.
True.
That's
True.
why everyone is, up in
Yeah,
arms.
up in
But I
roar,
think again, I'm going to stick to the theme that this is healthy. This is, people can't be naive anymore. People can't ignore the fact that racism does exist. Ignorance and people who feel like because of your skin color, because of your race, because of your sexual whatever orientation.
Yeah.
And, I think now people can't ignore it and can't say that it's not discrimination, or there's not an issue, there's not
I think a lot of the things,
inequality.
like you said, a lot of things are taboo now, and he's shaking some stuff from the surface, like you said, a lot of pervy stuff, like the banning that was already going on, but now it's like more like
It's up
it
front.
went to a halt now, and I'm like,
Yeah.
wait a minute,
Yeah.
this is real, Certain
So
people can't come
I
into
just
the country,
just
not
for
gonna
to bring
allow
everybody
that.
who's been
Yeah.
living underneath a rock, what Liz is talking about is the Muslim ban, aka the ban against countries where these terrorists are. What's your view on that, Dr. Rodriguez?
As I'm listening, no matter what, he's radical. He has a radical movement.
Approach,
yeah.
And that
Yeah.
is not, to me, it doesn't sit well with me. Because, yes, what he decides now on his radicalism is going to affect us in years to come. And he's the first one who, from previous cases of him being a landlord in so many buildings in New York, he is racist, period. I mean, these things have existed. They have been existing. I don't think that it's just now surfaced. I think his radical way is now surfacing so many things that people are like, wait, this has been
and
happening.
now he has a forum to do it. He has like the
He has
to
the
do
power.
it kind of thing.
He
Yeah.
has
to
the
do it.
power. I'm not comfortable with him having, now, having ties with Russia. I mean, Putin is his
Oh,
backup
yeah, that's
boy.
bananas.
That's dangerous
Yeah,
right there.
that's dangerous.
Yeah,
All of a
that's-
sudden now Turkey, who's been the biggest ally for the United States
In that region, yeah.
now they're getting bombed. Turkey hasn't been attacked, I can't even remember ever. Who messes with Turkey?
So the reason why Dr. Rodriguez is so passionate about Turkey, let's just blaze the trail on the Turkey connection.
Yeah, so I'm Armenian. My parents are from Syria. So I have a lot to say about Middle Easterns coming into this country. They all deserve a chance, just like every person. We've all migrated from a different country. We
True.
are a mix. We are the melting pot.
Yes.
Who's
Yeah.
taken that away out of the history book? I don't know.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
they need to put it back in.
Yeah, true.
And I'm Armenian, and so there's no discussion about the genocide with the Armenians, which was the first genocide
the
ever.
genocide, about
So, yeah, and not, but again, I feel bad for the people in Turkey. They're being bombed, they're being attacked, and it's, no matter what, at the end of the day, there's some kind of underlying factor that Russia is somehow
Yeah,
behind
true,
it. And
true.
we're supporting that. We're
Yeah.
supporting that.
True. And it's interesting to see how Trump is approaching this from a very nonchalant perspective. It's kind of sad. And as I said, when you go back to the history, it speaks for itself. So we're going to dib and dab a little bit. I just want to remind everybody, thank you for tuning into Squirrel Rosenberg Radio and Squirrel Rosenberg TV. I have some beautiful women in the house that are voicing their opinion tonight on a couple topics. We just touched on politics a little bit. We can get a little bit deeper a little bit later. However, I want to segue into a couple current affairs, something a little bit more lighter, just to ease the mood. And before we even do that, I want to bring up this Beyonce and twins. What the hell is really going on out here, son? Are dudes really firing off twins like that? No, seriously.
At that age.
This is true.
At that age, come on.
don't know.
Jay-Z just popped off twins. George Clooney just popped off twins.
Really?
Oh, I didn't know
I didn't know
that.
that, right?
It's right here in the New York. Bong. A girl just got.
Wow.
She's busting off twins right now.
Wow.
It must
You know-
be the caviar or the wine or something.
In vitro.
I don't want none of that.
They got money like that.
Yeah, I don't want
No.
no twins.
Yeah. So.
They can keep the twins.
Yeah.
True
no,
that.
no. But imagine it's like going in. What you call it? One time and hitting a double banger. You know what I mean? So why would you not be up?
Good for them. They can afford all that stuff. They can afford 3, 4, 5.
That kind of takes the fun out of it, right?
Yeah.
Isn't trying.
I guess what I was looking for is to go back to the whole designer baby era that we're in.
Yes.
Didn't J-Lo have twins?
They be serious.
You
That
follow?
designer stuff.
Right, Mariah
Right.
Carey had twins. It's like, and then oh boy, Pharrell just had triplets.
In vitro. I didn't know that either.
They have
So
yeah.
for guys, and I got to tell you, I take this personally because I'm a twin from a Jamaican father in the 1971. So there was no in vitro. This is real dudes popping off double shots. You follow? No, I'm serious. I'm gonna go in.
Mollusk power.
Yeah, you know what I mean? My guy bust off 2 shots. And because we are fraternal, and we're going to segue into a little bit of biology here, but identical twins are when 2 eggs.
I have
One
fraternal
egg-
brothers. Yeah.
Yeah, 1 egg. So identical is when 1 egg is fertilized by 1 sperm that splits into 2 and you have 2 babies. Fraternal is 2 sperms, 2 eggs. If I'm not mistaken. By the way, this Mary J.
Yeah, man.
Yo.
That's my girl right
So
there. Jay.
yeah, my boy always tell me that I have ADDH or whatever you want to call it because I now want to segue into the fact that Mary's always made classic music when she's going through some shit.
Yes,
Yeah.
we can all relate women. I don't know about men, but women, I want to fight right now. I want to do something right now. Okay,
Flip the table. Go
I want to
for
jump
it.
off. I want to jump off of somebody right now.
Turn the tables.
No, but
How do
No.
you really feel about that, Liz?
But that song right there,
No, just right now.
yeah,
Segue into that right now. No.
I
No,
feel
that
like
was-
running down the steps and running back down.
yeah,
I'm
just
charged.
yeah, no, it's
I'm
just
very charged
Yeah,
right now.
it's just a straight. Yo, I gotta tell you, it's an honor to hear Mary in the background, and I gotta keep reminding all our listeners that everything you're hearing on the music tip is available on our SoundCloud, Squirrel Rosenberg Radio. However, let's go back to the conversation. So we're talking about all the ladies at the table. You have an option. I'm the in vitro doctor. I can make it happen for you. Do you want twins? Do you want 1? Or do you want triplets? First time going in. What would you go? Dr. Rodriguez.
No and no and no.
I don't see why you wouldn't why not go 1 pain, bomb, get it over
I would
with.
like I would like twins. First shot, twins, boys and a boy and a
One
girl.
done,
That's
right?
it.
Yeah. I
I need you.
Yeah.
I need you to be on
Sorry.
that mic.
I was gonna say I'm with Liz. So with us, we had baby number 1, and then 5.5 years later, we had baby number 2. If I had that option to just knock it all out at once, go through the growing pains.
I had 2 C-sections, so if I had a choice, I have 2 with 1.
Yeah, I had an immigrant mom that didn't believe in
C-section.
I was in that same boat too. So that's a very good point.
Wow. So
Nomads
let me ask the question.
One big slash, and that's it.
Let me pose the question again, and we're gonna start over. You have the opportunity to have 1, 2, or 3. I'm the in vitro doctor. I make it happen. Dr. Rodriguez, what are you going with?
I guess we go for the double.
The double.
This is the lady who inspired the comment.
No, wait. Okay, so my situation's a little bit different. But I'm considering, like, I had a big family, so you know my situation. Like, we lived with my aunt, and there was like 6 kids in the household at once, 5
6
adults,
of us,
and it was like
You
that
had
was
6 too?
fun. That was like, you know, when you go outside, you play, you know, you play flag football, or you play
Double
remember
scotch
Red
or
Robins,
something like that,
and whatever. You know, do you remember when you used to
each
play
other's
all those-
friends. You come each other friend, the kitchen table, picking at one another.
playing hide and go seek in the dark.
I missed that. Yeah.
No, because you
Sorry,
have
it's
so
not-
many other
6 of us,
individuals
yeah.
around you.
Yeah, it was like a
Yeah.
house full of people, you know, and you were never bored, you were never alone, and
Right.
somebody
exactly.
corrected you, you know, you were getting bopped upside the head by somebody, you know, and that was like real. Like, there was no sitting watching TV, we were always outside.
That's
That's a bit-
interesting.
yeah.
I'm on the
I remember-
opposite
Yeah.
spectrum because I was
Talk to
the
me.
only child for 10 years.
What?
And no cousins.
Yeah.
Wow. So what was your games like?
My games were trying to play with friends.
Trying
you
to
know,
make friends.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, my
Which is-
girlfriends in school, and then, you know, friends of my mom's and their kids, so we were always out with them.
Which is interesting because I love the
you
fact
had,
because
like-
that boat
But I
could have.
never had anybody pick on me, bully me, bop me over the head.
That's
was,
big.
No.
Oh, girl,
I've
that's the part
been
you
this-
don't want.
Yeah. No, it was interesting that because it could have swung both ways. It could have been where because she has no friends really. I mean, for 10 years, no siblings. She would just like become a introvert.
Yeah.
You know, but that's big because it speaks volumes about your personality. That initially, from the get-go, from the minute you came out of the womb, like wow, she was like outgoing and meeting people. So you can become resilient from that, you know, downfall.
Yeah.
I remembered when I was going to high school in Jamaica. In Jamaica, when you graduate elementary school, you go to this one high school that's in your local town, and all your friends are going there. And my mom and dad sent me to the middle of the island. You know, I was so low. It's like taking me out of Jersey and sending me to Beirut. I've never been there before, and it's the same country, but it was just a different world. But I share that with you because in that moment, guess what I found out? Squirrel Rosenberg, Paul Lawrence is funny as hell. No, because I'm at the bus stop. Check this shit out. I'm at the bus stop cracking myself up where I got to walk away from people before they think I'm fucking crazy. Because I'm talking to myself in my head, creating a story. I didn't know anybody, right? But I'm just I'm entertaining myself. You know what I mean? So back to being frank. I don't want somebody busting through the door with a white suit. And I'm not crazy, but I did create a false personality that I was able to communicate with. Because I wasn't exactly the most confident person.
Imaginary friend.
Yeah, I did.
Not split personalities, right?
No.
I deal with split personality every day. Okay? I deal with that every day.
You have a split personality?
Yeah, I have a split personality person living with me at times. Okay.
What are the different names?
I don't know, Charlie, Jack. I don't want to mention the government name, but those are the other split personality names.
Yeah, that was classic.
Yeah.
No, but yeah. I want to give a big shout out to all the guys out there and all the women out there with split personalities. Keep it contained. So I want to move on to another topic, which is something interesting and it's very intimate.
No, that might be fun.
The split personality.
I don't know. It depends.
It depends, please, Ellie. Big L, I mean. I might have to take a drink on that one.
I don't know. Depends. Can you call them out and, you know, like pick and choose when one comes
Okay,
out?
back
You
up.
can't pick and choose, and they just
Not
Yeah.
not these specific ones.
yeah.
Squirrel Rosenberg Radio. All the classic music and energy you're hearing is available on our SoundCloud, and we're going to be posting this to our YouTube and to our internet. Everything, all the social media platforms are going to be saturated with what we do here. So on to the next topic real quickly before I bring in the boys' perspective, because I want to let you know we have some guys in the house waiting to share their points. I want to big up E-Dub, Fat Joe, my boy Manny behind the cameras. But ladies, let's just jump into another thing that's really intimate to our heart, which is sex. On the Squirrel Rosenberg radio, we made it a highlight to cover 4 major topics. But I want to touch on sex a little bit. So from a guy's perspective, growing up, everything you've heard, it's guys want it. It's all about guys. They want to have sex. It's this. What is it from the woman's perspective? I'm going to start with Ellie. Yeah, that's what I wanted to hear. I honestly wanted to hear that because as men, you think women are always, no, I have a headache or I can be bothered or I don't, so you think they don't need that satisfaction or that connection, for a better term.
Let me interject some street vernacular if I may.
I've heard that before.
Yeah, you've heard that before. So let me just bring you to a woman's perspective.
Please.
Society and what usually the culture around the world. This is not just a European thing, and a United States thing. This is women. You are a woman. You are a female, biological female. There's so many elements to behind I have a headache or so many elements to, I don't want to, not tonight, whatever the issue is. You have to understand there's 3 huge dynamic factors that a woman is taught from young. A, you don't give it up. The minute you give it up, you're a whore. You're labeled a whore. Everyone's going to know. That started from small town. My grandmother would tell me that every day.
You guys can relate to that?
Until right now.
I can't relate to that. I wasn't told
until
by
right
my
now.
grandmother that.
Well, that you just don't.
We will wait.
You don't
wait.
Yeah, wait.
Not,
no, you don't. You don't share that. You don't. You're not. And when
Yeah.
you do, it's with your husband, and there's no talk about there should be pleasure behind it. That's one, right? So if the way a man is encouraged to, this is opposite. We're talking about 2 opposite spectrums.
So do you think culture plays a very significant role in the balance of that?
The woman, the biological culture does. Male versus female does.
No, I was talking about the
upbringing?
culture?
Yeah, the culture.
The
The
upbringing?
the culture
No,
that
I think that culture is worldwide. What culture do you know encourages a female to enjoy sex and roots them on at a young age the way a male would?
There are,
Yeah,
right?
that-
Europeans don't see sex the same way as we do. Similarly, they don't see drinking alcohol the same way we do. There are some liberal cultures that aren't as traditional as what I guess
Right.
traditional is what you're looking for, but
Yeah.
as we are. But I'd like to think that you're right. Growing up, we grew up that's just you don't talk about it. We weren't. I don't even remember having a conversation with my
I never had a
siblings or
conversation with my mother about
parents
sex or anything.
about
like that.
no contraceptives, no.
Yeah,
it was
nothing.
just keep your legs closed. That's
Right,
it.
that's
There was
it,
no
yeah.
and
Wow.
I think that's the bigger issue, but our age group I think is a little bit different because I remember having conversations with our daughters.
Yeah.
And then I remember friends and that's how you learn, right?
Yeah, with the
Right.
friends.
They expose you to that.
Yeah, and I mean, the old wives' tales and all the myths, and that's kind of how we grew up.
Yeah, that's how we grew up, yeah.
But
But nowadays it's different.
It's very
like
different.
more,
yeah,
what's going on? Okay, so let's try this and
It's
do
more
that.
it's more casual.
Yeah,
there's
it's like
condom
more.
commercials. Which
Yeah.
growing up, we didn't have condom commercials. It was like, oh my god, you're talking about a condom,
There's a gel that make it really last.
yeah, like
Yeah,
holy crap!
yeah.
Like
You know, they
now
have
it's
those
like
stuff now.
yeah,
On TV.
yeah,
On
Viagra
TV.
commercials,
Yeah, on
condom
TV.
commercials. Which growing up, we didn't have any of that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very, very interesting because as I hear the opinion that you share regarding the culture and the perspective that's sold to women, that you need to be more reserved and you're not as so now
Exactly.
that but because that's what's sold out there. Like
You're right. But I'm kind of thinking back. Like we're always saying how, oh my God, this generation is different than our generation. But you and I have the conversations where like Marvin Gaye songs were very provocative. and we're shocked about R. Kelly back in our days and Blackstreet.
Yeah,
We're like, oh my
yeah.
God, I can't believe they're talking about that. But if you look back at
It's been
music,
there.
Songs are
It's
very
always
popular.
been
art,
there.
it
Yeah.
has. But I
Yeah.
think traditionally, right? I think it's always been like when we went to New Orleans and they were talking about the women showing their ankles, and if she didn't,
Oh, right.
Yeah.
so if a man saw a woman's ankles and she did not accept his invitation for whatever it was, dinner or date, she was then now has a scarlet letter on her that she's a whore because she didn't accept, the invitation.
No, because she showed her ankle without
well, because he
following.
saw her ankles and
Yeah,
she didn't
yeah.
accept
That's a big
his
difference. Yeah,
invitation.
she saw the
This is
ankle.
New Orleans.
which is
Yeah. It was crazy.
So
No, but-
so
Wow.
you're right. Like the women have kind of had this,
Yeah.
stigma, and
I think
Yeah.
for me, it's always been because women are not as straightforward as men.
oh no.
Oh, we could be
Come on.
straightforward.
What we're taught from a young age, right? You don't root the woman on, you root the men on. Yeah,
True,
you
true.
go out there, and women, no, stay reserved. There's this internal, now when that conversation's had and it's embedded in you, it's kind of built in your nervous system, just kind of the way we
Yeah.
operate
Yeah,
with other
yeah.
things. And now it's this internal conflict, especially when you're a teenager in your 20s. This is a huge topic. This is the one of the top like 3-4 questions that are driving your everyday motives on a daily basis. Because in your teens and early 20s, you're not thinking about marrying right now. So you have that choice every day.
Depends, right? Again,
Well-
you're going to go back to culture and tradition.
Right.
Then again, it depends how you
You
were
know?
brought up. If the self-esteem is not there,
Yeah.
the body
There's a
image,
whole, right.
When you say like women aren't thinking about marriage, I think it depends, right? So culturally, I think some cultures like you groom yourself to find a good husband,
Right.
and
Right.
and that's kind of your purpose. Like you can go to
Just
school,
wanna
you can
get
do whatever,
married.
but
you want to
you're
get married, you want to have
nothing
children,
unless
you want to
have-
be a housewife, you want to take
Yeah.
care of your
That's
husband.
that's
and
always
that's
pitched.
that. You want
That's
to
always
cook
pitched.
and clean and whatever. That's
Yeah.
all you're there for.
So
You take care of the household, and then he takes care of the whatever, and whatever
Yeah.
he does out there, you just sit back and you just keep it reserved, and you just be this wife and submissive or whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's my culture.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
What culture is that?
Puerto Rican.
Okay.
Spanish.
We could be submissive. We gotta cook. The rice and beans or whatever it might be when he comes home, and serve him and.
So is it not expected to be reciprocated? Like is it not expected?
No.
He's the man. He comes in. He walks to the door, and you right.
Yeah.
Right?
See, and that's the thing. So yeah, he's like, yeah, he's
Yo, Liz is pointing to my boy E-Dub in the back. But what's so funny is I'm gonna have the guys on in a few minutes just to hear. We're gonna go over the same
the way
thing.
my mom, what I seen in my household, was my mom serving, my stepdad when he walked in through the door, his slippers, his clothes was always clean.
Yeah. That's definitely
his cold beer
Latino
was there.
culture.
And we were reserved.
Same thing, Middle Eastern culture.
Reserved.
We're taught to, the women speak in a separate room. We don't
Wow.
speak in the room where the men are. You do things quietly. The women have their own jokes. The women actually have their own meals. Like they'll cook, and then you kind of do your own little woman meal that you eat amongst the women during the day before the man comes home. And same thing, you serve and serve and serve, and it's
Submissive.
So
and
let me
stuff
ask you
like
this. I'm gonna get intimate right now, ladies. So let me ask you this. So what about your happiness in that culture?
So it depends on how you were raised, right? So you find happiness in being able to serve. I think that's kind of how you're
wow.
The submission.
you're programmed,
Because
right?
so let
Submissive.
me interrupt and level the playing field because my wife is Ethiopian, and what was that culture like?
Similarly, I can relate to what Jen is saying. When I went to my aunt's funeral, and I think the biggest culture shock for me was that when you couldn't wear makeup, you had to cover your hair, or we had to completely be covered from head to toe, women were on one side of the room and men were on the other side of the room, and the women did all the work and served and everything. And that's the interesting thing, right? So not only do you come home and you cook and you clean, you take care of the kids, but then you also go out and work. And that's not expected of like men.
Right.
But I can relate to what Jen is saying. So
No,
so
but
culturally,
what I want to get to is, now we're in America and we realize that women have needs also. In that culture, is a woman's need ever satisfied? Or her needs are just irrelevant. It's not even a thought. It's not even.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something. Through I was with my husband since I was 18. I never thought about being. I have to be pleased or anything. My thing was pleasing him. Until I reach a certain age, and you start reading, and you start looking, and you start hearing that things start changing. Wait a minute. I should get mines off too.
Bam! There you have it.
What happened?
No, I love your honesty.
What happened?
Yeah.
So then you start, and some men aren't ready for that. They're like, oh, you're changing. What's going on? You're seeing somebody else. It's not that.
Yeah, it's just.
It's that you now want to experiment and you want to do you.
Yeah, which is really where I realized there was a complete shift in the woman's independence. Not only for voting, not only for work,
everything.
but everything across the board is like changing for where they're taking the power. I mean,
yes, we are.
So that's the thing, right? Like everyone's saying that this is new, and women. If you look back in history, like women have always kind of been these, icons and these powerful, like
Marilyn Monroe.
Go back further. When you think
back.
Harriet Tubman, when you think, you can go way back to,
they were very,
You know what's so funny is, and I'll tell you this as a very secure male, that when a woman comes into the mix, they bring a whole different flavor that's priceless.
Yeah.
I mean, when you think about all the organizations, what's so funny is you guys have been subjected and are still being subjected to a subservient mentality. You don't make as much as male do. You don't do, and then you do twice as much as male do.
Yes,
and don't get paid.
It's unbelievable.
And take into account, I was just listening to an article that was being read over the radio. A woman has to think about their job security when they're pregnant, that they're going to go on maternity leave. And let's just say, you make $80,000 a year. Now you just lost 2 years because now you're home with your child. And if you're in a state that allows you to be off for a year, let's say in California versus in New Jersey, 6 weeks and you got to get back to work.
Yeah.
Natural birth, 6 weeks, that's all it should take. There's no bonding time. Now you're losing $160,000 and now you're starting back to your maybe entry-level position because now you've been out of the job force for 2 years. These are all dynamics that men don't even think about. It doesn't even occur to them.
True.
And this is usually how society is in the corporate world. Not
True.
every woman is an entrepreneur and has their business. And just to kind of compliment on the whole conversation with men and women, and men that are ready and present, it's a beautiful thing. And one of the things that, taking a lot of couple courses and a lot of the research I've done, men, one of the biggest things is you got to have the intimate time. You have to have the intimate sexual time, and intimate time that's even without intercourse, but other intimate times.
Right.
Yeah,
and the man has to be open to this. And the way they have to be open to it is saying, how can I serve you? How can I please
That's a big
you?
part, but I'm wondering why you're
Once
saying,
the
excuse
man
me,
says
real
that-
quick before I forget, I'm just wondering, are you men taught that? Taught that we don't only have to be submissive to you, but like she said, the whole dynamics about
Serving.
how
Serving.
about you serving
I'm gonna
us?
keep quiet because you do a good job.
No, but the question she's asking,
Big L.
no. But the question she's asking is, are we
Right.
organically?
Who taught you that? How do you know to do
so,
that?
So here's the deal. So, and this is where it came
Big
to.
L did a good job. No, I'm playing.
No. So you got to say it in the mic. Say it again.
I did say it in the mic. I said Big L did a good job. No.
So here's what's interesting about me hearing this is like, so when I married and when I got with L, I was that lost guy with the same mentality. You follow? But no.
To your defense, I think you've always so inherently. I think you've always been just this genuine guy who always wanted to serve, whether it was me or community or.
Okay,
So,
I'll take that.
So
No, but I remembered, and that's why when you brought up that point and you brought that up.
I think ego has a big.
No, but
part.
yeah. So I realized I really went through this change of mentality.
And how long did it take you to do that?
For me, it's good because I'm inclined to serve. It's easy. You follow? I will always serve because I know what the benefits of serving are. But let's just fast forward to when I met her and the dynamic changed. To answer your question for interrupting her. So she was pregnant with Naomi, my first daughter. And when we found out, you don't know this, I'll share this to you now. I went for the longest walk. And I said, how do I filter this in? And then I looked back on the family structure that I grew up in. So I wasn't a mom over here
and
and,
that's
a dad
a big
over
point, that structure. I was going to bring the structure because, like, you brought that point out, you brought it in my situation with, with a loved one. He wasn't brought up with that structure.
Oh, okay.
You know, the dad cheated. The mother was crying.
Okay.
You know, they had all this riff and raff, all this tension and stuff like that. So
yeah, so from my dynamics, all I saw was mom and dad together through the thickness. So I made a vow, and one of the best decisions I ever made in my entire life. And I'll look into your face right now and tell you all of this. She told me she was pregnant with Naomi. I went for the longest walk, and I had options. I could run for the hills. I could be the baby but daddy. You know what I mean? I got options. I got options.
Killed you.
I got options. But I said to myself, I don't know any other option but to be there. And if I need to bite the bullet and be unhappy for my daughter, I'm going to do it. I never told you this. I said I'm going to do it. But I said the minute I said I'm going to do it, but I'm also going to do it with a smile in my heart. You follow? Because
did you do it for the
baby?
No,
hear me. No, but if I did it for the baby, she would have felt it, because then I would be bitter to her. You follow?
Okay.
So initially, I said, let me do it for my kid, because I never grew up in an environment where it was a baby mama, baby daddy thing. It was never that environment I grew up in. So I'm going to do it for the baby. However, I'm also going to do it with a smile on my face. You follow? And what I've gained from that is a friendship that is not priceless. The problem with our society today is it's very disposable. So if she ain't working with her, screw her, I'm jumping next
A lot of
shift.
people have a lot of options now. This is the options.
No, but if you do it, I am now 23 years married, coming on this year. 23, she's going to be 23 this year.
She'll be 23, yeah, so 23 years
Married and 25 years together.
26 years.
Yeah, and my point is this. When I made that decision 23 years ago.
Actually, 91, so 27 years ago.
But my point is this. I don't know what the future is going to hold, but I tell you this much. I know I can make this shit work. If I need to be submissive to serve her 100% so she can now understand how much I love her without me telling her that, then guess what? And I got to tell you, your women are guilty for doing this. You will reciprocate 100% every time. That's how you guys are programmed. If I give you 50%, you give me back 100%. So what's going to happen when I give you 100%? I'm going to get 200% back. It's just that a lot of men aren't built to go through that 23-year or 26-year walk to get to where we are right now.
35 years. Yeah. So,
Wow.
You've been married for 35 years.
35.
Wow.
18. Wow.
That is fascinating.
Yeah.
Guys, you know what's so funny? We got to touch on one more topic. Yo, this whole, we went from sex and sex segued into a whole bunch of shit that is what the Rosenberg channel is about, you know? I want to touch on one more thing before we even end this session, and it's religion. And it's been very, very significant in my life, in how I've conquered things and experienced things. And when I say religion is, people always, I went to his prayer and the guy prayed, and what he said was, not in Jesus' name. He didn't say in Allah's name. He said, in the name of who God reveals himself to you. And when I heard that, that was powerful.
That's a very powerful thing
That was
to say.
very powerful.
Yeah.
In the name of who he reveals himself to you. And I say that to you because if God were to show up here now in his glory and gave us all a direction, Liz, go do this. Dr. Jen, go do this. Squirrel, go do that. Ellie, go do that. Talia, go do that. When I think that when he
Said it
leaves,
right.
we're gonna be in like all like, what the hell just happened? And did you remember what he told me? Would you be so? Guess what he does? He sends Dr. Jen, and Dr. Jen would call me and like, hey, Squirrel, what's going on with you? I'm going through, and I share with her, and then through her, God counsels me. You follow? So that way, I'm not blown away by his presence.
But he does that now, I feel. Like he does that now.
He does that now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He does that now.
He does that now.
That's my opinion on the whole religion. Let me start with Ellie. What's your view on religion? And
So, I think you need something to ground you, right? Because if you're not grounded, then there's this manic sort of kind of no real compass. So I grew up Orthodox. So it's not Roman Catholic. It's very strict. And it was Greek Orthodox. And then when we came to the States, it was Roman Catholic because there was no real, especially in Texas, there's no Greek Orthodox churches. So very, very strict. We had nuns come to our house. It was always about church. It's almost 7 days a week, church. And very, very strict and very, kind of militant sort of.
yeah,
So my
more
perspective-
ritualistic versus relationship.
Yeah. My mom had, the shrine with all the different saints and the candles and all that. So for me, it's like you said, it's whomever or however he feels himself to you. I feel like it's bigger than that. I feel like there's so much out in the universe. So there is a being, a God, however way you want to describe it. Yeah, higher power than us, and I believe in that. I believe without that you wouldn't have. I love sunrises, sunsets, So, and then I also believe in what I guess people would call karma, or so what you put out there, the good energy, the love, that's
Which
what you get
is
back.
Swahili for that somebody's always watching.
Yeah.
Somebody was always rewarding. So I'm gonna bounce to my right and hear Dr. Rodriguez's opinion on religion.
Religion. I don't like the word so much.
Oh, I like where you
I
went
don't
with
like
that.
the word.
That's big.
To me, it's faith. Your faith. What is your faith? I like asking, what is your faith? Not, what's your religion? I don't care about your
like that.
religion
Yeah,
because
I like that.
I don't care. I care about your faith. I want to know your heart. I want to know the message that you tell yourself daily, because that's exactly how you're living your life, and that's important to me.
That's big.
I want to see your heart, your faith. Where's your mind?
What do you say to someone who has never been exposed to anything like that? So for them, it's a day-to-day struggle just to put food on the table or have shoes, but there's no exposure to any sort of organized idea of, or even being preached to about any sort of faith or hope, or however way you want to describe it. What do you say to someone like that who doesn't have any real
I'd like to
exposure?
tackle that actually before you even try to answer that, because what I hear in the question is how do you tell somebody about a passionate relationship who has no idea? Because what really this whole religion thing is about is a relationship. So like, for instance, like, I like coming here and hanging out with E-Dub or Fat Joe or you ladies. That's how we like to hang out with God, or with that being or whoever that being may be. But you have to want to have a relationship with that person, So once it doesn't become a religion, that's why I love the fact that you said, I want to deviate from religion. So not to take away your time, I want you to finish your thought.
To that person, I would say we all have a choice. That is the one thing that we all have as human beings, is a choice. You have a choice to live your life the best way you can, or you can constantly tell yourself the same thing, like a lawnmower over the same piece of grass. This is hard. This is difficult. I'm single. I'm doing it by myself. I hate the world. Or you can say, today's going to be a new day and I'm going to make that happen. And that's the same thing with faith. At some point, you have to get. At some point, you are this empty shell. If you don't have this spiritual side to you that goes to this other level that can say, help me, and you don't believe in hope and you don't believe in anything, then you become this empty shell and it will wear on you. And so the question is, how's that working out for you so far?
And it's not.
It's not, then you have a decision to make. And I'm not saying you have to believe in a certain religion. I believe in Jesus Christ, and this is coming from an atheist. You can ask my mom. Everyone was blown away when I said, I am a believer of Jesus Christ. They were
coming from an
dumbfounded.
atheist perspective.
This is from someone who 100% I would prove anybody wrong. I had a scientific answer for everything.
Wow.
Everything.
Yeah, that was big. That's huge.
Everything.
That's huge. I really like the conversation there.
There's no doubt in my mind. No doubt. I have testimony after testimony. It does not fail. The love and the faith does not fail.
Big.
It doesn't fail.
Big. So we want to kind of end it with Liz's point, because I went to my left, which is Ellie. I went to my right, which is Dr. Rodriguez. Now, Liz, your opinion on religion.
I think Dr. Rodriguez kind of summed it all up. I was brought up Catholic all my life. And after, I got older and exposed to other religions, I just feel like there is a higher power. And you have to stay, that is something that makes you feel grounded. I don't care if it's Catholic, baptism, these other religions. It's just always, I feel in my heart there's always been a higher power, and that's what keeps you stable and grounded.
That's big. So, what's so funny? We didn't hear from Thalia. So, we know, Ellie, slide your mic over to Thalia. Thalia, give me your opinion on religion.
I don't know.
Get close to the
She
mic.
has mixed feelings on religion.
I do have mixed feelings.
I want to
because
hear
feel
those
like-
mixed feelings.
I feel like, it's more based on your mentality. Like, what you put out there is what you're going to receive. I don't feel like there's a higher power. Like, I don't think I don't think that going to a church symbolizes your religion, or if you believe in someone higher. I just feel like, you make, like, doctor said, I feel like you make your life how you make your life, and what's your life based on is what's going to come back to you. So whatever you make your life about, bad or good, is how, what's going to come back to you.
I really love your perspective on that, but there's one thing I have to share with you, and this is just as I hear you speak that for somebody who goes to church, and this is not a rebuttal to your not going to church, but if I want to become a scientist, it's required I go to school.
Right.
And when I'm in that school or in that college, I'm around individuals that are going to sharpen my skills. That's what church is. You follow? You're not required to go to church because he will reveal himself to you in every environment.
Any place.
You follow? I'm talking about from a Subway restaurant to in your bed, to wherever. But when you go into that church, you're getting a little bit more to sharpen you up. You follow? And I did a podcast last week with just guys, and when I interjected that we go to church on a Sunday, my guy applauded, and I complimented my wife for being the initiator for that. Like, yo, let's go. And every time I've gone, I've always won. So we have a minute to close on this first episode of Ladies with Squirrel Rosenberg. I want to compliment and thank you all. Dr. Rodriguez, your last words.
Last words are...
There's a rainbow over your head. What do you want the rainbow to say?
The rainbow says you have a choice. You always have a choice.
Liz, there's a rainbow over your head. What does your rainbow say?
Live your life.
Thalia,
Happiness is key.
grab the mic. Go. Ellie.
I don't know the exact quote and how it goes, but the gist of it is what we do today determines our tomorrow.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah,
and mine is
good way to close
women are the best gift to this world. Squirrel Rosenberg Radio, thank you for tuning in. We're going to remind you everything's available on our SoundCloud, on our Facebook, and our Instagram. Thank you, ladies. It's an honor and pleasure.
Thank you.
Bong, bong, bong.